stage our next guest. He is an Emmy Award-winning actor, author, and astronaut. Please welcome Mr. William Shatner.
It's over here. Where are you? Where did you go? Oh, there you are. We rehearsed this for 3 days. Hello, everybody. There's a strike on, as you may know. The writers went on strike, and then the actors went on strikes, and I'm actually part of both of those unions, and the problem is that technology has changed. So, streaming and artificial intelligence and other things, the technology is like burgeoned and become such a part of our lives. And so the pay scales and the streaming is, and then they're using people's image, image in artificial intelligence, and I don't know about the people's whose image that is being used without permission, and so somebody's making. That wasn't me. Somebody's making money off of other people's work, the writers' work, the actors' work, through artificial intelligence and other technological things that are happening. So our lives are bound. I mean, look at this microphone. I should be talking to you like this. So the extent to which technology has taken over is really incredible. So what I can't do is talk about or any of the other things I've done. So I've got to sort of talk to you about things that really matter, like life and death, or technology. I mean, it's incredible. So I'm in my hotel room, not here in Austin, but in another city, and I'm doing something like this, and it's the night before I'm going to go to the wherever it was, the convention center. And so I'm getting ready to go to bed. So I have my phone in my hand, and I go to set the alarm, because having been in so many hotels over so many years, I will not depend on the front desk waking me up at the appropriate hour. Oh, I am sorry, sir, that we didn't call you. Was that a problem? No, I just missed my airplane. 3,000 people are waiting for me, and I didn't get up because you didn't call me. Oh, we're sorry, sir. They don't care. So I set my clock, my alarm on my phone. I do that all the time. Not only that, up until recently, he'd carry an airplane ticket. Let me see your airplane, what seat, and you show them your airplane ticket. You don't carry airplane tickets, they're in your phone. You make a call, you don't go to a telephone booth. Remember these old movies? The car would stop, you go to a telephone booth, you put in your quarter, you don't do that anymore. You got a phone. Your phone is your life. Do you know, I mean, just look, there's somebody here with a phone right there, look at that on a phone. I'll bet, does anybody not have a phone? Raise your hand if you don't have a phone. Nobody raised their hand. No, I don't want to see your hand. I don't. Destroys the whole thought. Sure, troublemaker. No, but I mean, most people, almost essentially everybody, has a phone, and we're so dependent on the freaking phone. I said freaking for the young people. So I've got my phone in my hand, I go to set the alarm, and the phone kind of won't accept my instruction. I'm pressing the clock button, and it's not, what the heck? I go to charge the phone, put the charger on, and it won't, the little green thing won't go on. The phone won't work. So you get hysterical. I mean, the phone won't, my airplane ticket for tomorrow is in there. The phone calls I have to make, the messages I've got to get, the alarm I've got to put on, the airplane ticket. My whole life is on this phone. And the phone is rebelling. The phone is saying, screw you. I am not listening to this anymore. The technology was rebelling. Technology was rebelling. I mean, how many people have died when the technology has failed? The heater won't go on, the air conditioning won't go on. So, there's a network. If you were paranoid, you could say the machines are getting conscious. They're communicating with each other. Listen, I just finished reading about the 43 students that were killed some years ago in Mexico. And here in America, we wonder, what happened? How the 43 young people, there's an article in the New York Times today about the collusion between every member of the government, the army, the police, but what was incredible was that there was technology that allowed everybody to listen in on everybody. Everybody was listening in to the conversations on the phone because of the technology. So this phone rebelled. I had no way of, I couldn't plug it in, I couldn't shut it, it wouldn't shut off. I had to outthink the technology. That's true. So what did you do with a rebellious phone that was saying, I'm not shutting off, I'm not waking you up, I'm not getting your airplane ticket, I'm not going to tell you what you have to do tomorrow, I quit, I am not, and what do you do? So, Johnny, go to your room, if you're not going to listen to me, you can't. What do you do? I couldn't shut the phone off. You know how they tell you, shut the phone off, let it clear, and it'll come back, reset. I couldn't reset it. What would you do? I'll tell you what I did. I thought, wait a minute. I've got a brain. This thing doesn't have a brain. I can outthink this thing. The only thing I can't do is I can't shut it off. How do I shut this phone off? I put on the flashlight. That was the only thing that worked. Okay? I put on the flashlight, and I thought, sooner or later, the battery will go dead, and the phone will shut off. So I put on the flashlight, put the flashlight down, and I had the flashlight right there beside my bed, and I got into sleep. Now, doing what I do here in the day requires a lot of, you gotta sleep. You have to be on your toes. People ask you a question, you gotta talk, you gotta think, you need sleep. Still on. Okay, oh God, I'm so tired. Still on. The flashlight won't go off. So indicating the battery is dead. I couldn't sleep all night because I kept waking every 15 minutes. It's still on. So somewhere deep into the early morning, and it was off. So I plugged it in and the little red thing went on, and the phone had reset. I beat phone. Which is an example of what can happen in technology when technology rebels, because that's what we're all afraid of. So what I thought I would talk to you about is the various technological things that, because I was 6 years old in a camp that my aunt ran. There was 20, 30 children from the streets of Montreal, and up in the Laurentian Mountains, my aunt had made a camp. Her name was Rabin, R-A-B-I-N, so it was Rabin's camp. And I was in the camp, and they had some buildings and they said, oh, let's do a play. And when the parents go up to get the kids on Sunday, we'll have a little play. So somehow, I don't remember the details, we put on a play for the camp. A camp play with the students play. And they gave me words to say, and I said the words in front of the parents about like this, you know, they're all looking. And the words I said must have been very touching, because when the curtain came down, when the curtain came back up, the audience had tears in their eyes. I had made the audience cry. So that started me off as an actor. I've never done anything else, I've just been an actor. So along comes a phone call about, and I accept the role, and I play Captain Kirk, and suddenly I'm the guy of the future. So now people talk to me as though I know something about the future. I don't know what I'm going to say next, let alone what the future is. But they, you know, and so I get people who want me to do futuristic things. So over the years, I've become really interested, I would have been anyway, because the mystery and the awe of the universe, and especially of our Earth, is so entrancing, so intriguing, that I got to think that I would have been involved anyway. But here I am, the actor who now is the Captain Kirk, the knowledgeable Captain Kirk of the future. So people come up to me and every so often offer me to be part of a futuristic thing. Well, the future is technology. So I become involved in technology, for example. Beam me up, Scotty. Yeah, sound familiar? Doesn't exist, of course, because they have, from my understanding, sent one molecule from one post to the other post. So sometime in the future, long beyond my lifespan, but even his 12, after he's dead, there may be the possibility of beaming something, the flesh, from one post to another. Beam me up, Scotty is a wonderful disguise to avoid docking, putting down the gangplank, getting down the thing, you're there. And then you get on with the plot. Well, a company this year, Proto-Hologram is the name of the company, approached me and said, would you like to be part of this company? This is what we're doing. And I read, oh, that's it. It was, sure, I'd like to be part of your company. And so I signed on to be part of the company. They're not that they're going to run to me for advice, but somehow I'm part of Proto-Hologram. Now, I have a book out there now called Boldly Go. And the premise of Bold and Go, I think, because you start writing, you lose track of exactly what it is the theme is until you rewrite it. So I think the premise of my book is the universe is taking care of me. The number of times that I've pulled up to a restaurant and somebody leaves a parking spot for, I call it parking karma. Don't tell me, but I have parking karma. Somehow, instead of and going 7 blocks away to walk back to a crowded restaurant, parking karma is there a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of times. The universe is looking after me. The terrible things have happened to me in my life, that out of those terrible things come some good things. I mean, as terrible. And I pointed this out to a member of our family who had cancer. Oh my God, cancer, death, destruction, amputation. I mean, who knows cancer? The ugly cancer word. I mean, the word cancer is a clarion call to harm and tears and destruction and cancer. So a member of our family had cancer and fought the cancer and began to get better on the cancer, but while that person had cancer, the whole family coalesced around her, showed her the love and the appreciation and can we help, and it was a magical thing that this terrible thing that was happening, wondrous things happened as well. It was magical. Out of these terrible events in our lives, if we look for it, sometimes beauty can alleviate the pain of what's going on. So, the universe is looking after me. So, Proto-Hologram says, be a member of the company, and I say, okay. And I'm an officer of the company, and they want some publicity. The phone rings. The phone that didn't work works, and it's Australia. Adweek is having a whatever they call it, a meeting of 4,000 advertisers in Australia. Will I come to Australia and talk to 4,000 advertisers? Now, you may not have seen it. Not everybody has. Some. What's it called? Stars on Mars. See, one person saw it. Well, it's not the most popular show on television, Stars on Mars, but it's on ABC. It's on Fox Network, and it's a group of people that you would know who are on Mars, Australia. So they're in Australia, in the outback of Australia, pretending to be on Mars because it looks a lot like Mars. And the Fox Network built an incredible set that looks like the kind of thing that if and when astronauts go to Mars, that's the kind of thing they will live in. So they have designers and it looks great. So the set is in the outback of Australia. And I am like the host of Stars on Mars, and they got a large group of people that you would know to go to the outback of Australia and pretend it's Mars because It's very much like Mars. And I know because I was shooting film at Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, in California. And one of the people at JPL said, "Would you like to go on Mars?" I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "We've got photographs of the rover that took pictures of Mars. We've got pictures of Mars. And we've got the glasses." "Wait a minute, where are you going?" "No, seriously, come here. Come here. Where are you going?" "Wait a minute, talk it into the microphone."
My friend wants to meet up with me, so I was going to meet up with him.
Well, wait a minute, I'm in the middle of a story. I mean, why? Why would you go now in front of me? What's your name?
My name's Justin.
Finance Justin?
No, my name's Justin.
Oh, your name is Justin. Justin, where are you going?
I'm going to go meet, my friend wants to meet up, and he's going to decide if he wants to buy a ticket.
Why the hell don't you bring your friend here? It's going to be fun. I'm going to talk. None about, I won't do anything about, but I'm talking about technology.
Yeah?
Sit down. Sit down! Tell him you'll be there in a half an hour. I'm telling you, I was in a play. Just remember, I got to remember that I'm talking to you about the outback of Australia. Okay, I'll get back to that. I was in a play. The World of Susie Wong. Not my first Broadway, another Broadway, about the third Broadway play I was in. So, it was a famous novel.
How was
and
Mars,
they made,
though?
What?
How was Mars? You didn't tell us how Mars.
No, hold on. This is not an organized speech. We got Justin sitting there. And I'm going to tell you, what I just did to Justin is what I did on a Broadway play. Okay? We're going to take a little, don't get so set in your ways that we can't go sit, and then go sit, and come back. As long as you come back, it's okay. And let me tell you a little story, because we're here. So, I'm in a Broadway play. Famous novel, made into a famous play by a famous writer, directed by the top director in Broadway, by the top producer team, and it was a big hit. It was supposed to be. So we rehearsed 4 weeks, then we went to New Haven, and the notices weren't that good. So they rewrote the play, and they rewrote the thing, and they made new sets, and we went to Philadelphia, and the notices, they weren't so good. Then we came to New York, and we did some previews. Then we opened the play, and the notices were really bad. There were 7 newspapers at the time.
He's going to yell at you.
Have you met Justin? So the notices weren't terrific. No, they were really the worst play ever on Broadway. It was an abomination. Okay, this play by all these great people. Ordinarily, you're sitting in Sardi's, and the notices come in, and you realize you're not going to have that job the next night. They're going to close the play. They couldn't close the play because of all these great people who were connected to the play. Everybody thought the play was going to, you got to see the play, you got to see The World of Susie Wong, you're going to go see. So they had a 3-month advance. Now if you close the play the next day, you're going to give the money back. They are not going to give the money back. So the play had to run. So we started to play in front of a sold-out audience, this play that got 7 turkey notices. And justifiably, so that every night I was the leading character, so I'd be on stage, and some, what the hell? Have you met Justin? So I'd be playing in front of an audience, and a whole row would get up and leave. You're laughing. Imagine being on stage. I love you, my darling. What was that? And a whole row of people would get up and leave. And the seats clap, you know? You sit up and the seat goes, whoop. So you're not only, they think, let's get the hell out of here. The seats are clapping. I love you, my. So, somewhere in the middle of a play, like the second or third night, people are getting up. Her name was Susie Wong. I said, Susie, sit down! People went, huh? And they sat down. And there was a little titter, you know, a little laugh. Oh. Every time somebody went to get up, I'd say, sit down! Susie, addressing the person on the stage. And I began to talk a little more like this, a little faster. In the 3 months that we had to run, I took 15 minutes out of the play, out of the running time of the play. The play, instead of being a turgid drama about Susie Wong, became a comedy. People started to laugh. We ran for 2 years. All because I told Justin to sit down. Okay, I'm back to now the Outback. You okay now? All right. So we're in the Outback of Australia. Now, the Outback of Australia is one of the severest, I don't know the word, supreme deserts on Earth. I mean, the Sahara, we got our own little desert here, but the Outback is ugly. No, it's not ugly. It's beautiful in its starkness and its lack of water. All it's got is opals. We were at Cooper Pedy in the Outback, about 500 miles into the desert, and it's the opal capital of the world, or of Australia, certainly. The coincidence of being at Cooper Pedy is, again, like the universe is taking care of it. So many years ago, I was asked to go to Australia to do something, give some award or something or other. And they said, if you come, you know, is there something you like to do that we'll help you do it? So I said, well, and this is something I'm not proud of now, but at that time it was considered good behavior. I would hunt with a bow and arrow. So I said, well, I like to hunt with a bow and arrow. They said, well, we'll take you hunting. We'll take you into the wilds of Australia. And I said, and I fly airplanes. I love to fly. So, well, we'll get you. We'll get you your answer. So, based on that, I go to Australia. It's like 17 hours. You got a problem? Okay. 17 hours to Australia in an airplane with thing going along. It's debilitating getting to Australia. And fine. So now they said, all right, we'll take you hunting. We're going to go to the island of Tasmania, and there's a animal, what's the small kangaroo called? Wallaby. A wallaby. We got wallabies here, which are a pest. Like you guys have pests that eat the crops there, rabbits. And the wallabies are overwhelming us. We need to get rid of the wallabies, and there's, you know, they eat everything and they starve. So we have wallaby hunters the way you guys have deer season. We have wallabies. It's wallaby season. Let's go get a wallaby. Okay, we'll go get a wallaby. So now I go with a guide, and we go to the island of Tasmania, and there's forests over there. And short of the forest, the guide says, let's sit down here, and the sun is going down, and they come out in the dusk. So let's lie down here, and we'll wait for the wallaby. I'm lying down there, and the sun is beginning to set. It's getting dark, and I hear what's that? What's that? It's the wallaby. The wallaby? The wannabe? No, the wallaby. The wallabies are coming out of the forest. They're little kangaroos, they jump. Okay, wait a minute, the sun is setting. It's dark. I can't see the wallaby. A bow and arrow. It's not like a gun where you put a sight on it, right? You got to see where the arrow's going to go. I can't see. It's dark. You got me here in the middle of the night. There's no hunting. Go back to the, what's the name? Waltzing Matilda. What's the name of the watering hole? Billabong. I went back to the Billabong, and we had porridge or something. Whatever it was, I didn't get a wallaby. So sometime later they say, all right, we got the flying thing for you. Turns out that there's an Australian who came to Los Angeles, to North American Rockwell or something. Somebody who made an airplane in a factory, and he bought himself a twin-engine airplane. And apparently a great stalwart airplane that could take a lot of rough treatment. And he flew it from Los Angeles to New York, to London, to Europe, down Europe, to Asia, down Asia, to the Near East, to the Philippines, and finally he landed in Sydney, Australia. He piloted and navigated the airplane all by himself. I've forgotten his name, but we'll call him Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, how do you do this? Shatner. Shatner flies an airplane. Would you take him up? Jones says, great. So we go fly up out of Sydney, fly up in the airplane, we're flying around, and he says, and you fly? I said, yeah, but I fly a little bit. Would you like to take the control? I'd love to take the control. Oh, no, I got the control. I'm flying this twin-headed, and I'm flying this plane and flying this. You know, I hope you don't lose the awareness of how magical flight is. When you get on an airplane, you know, they shut the windows for the heat and all. Open the bloody windows. Take a look at the magic of flying. Flying is magical. So, and I not only that, I had flown small planes, I had flown gliders, I even had flown a paramotor, it's called, paramotoring. I've gotten one of those parachutes that are kites, and a motor with a propeller strapped on my back, and if you can get to 12 miles an hour, that's flying speed. You jump into the air, and you're flying about 25 miles an hour. You're flying with the birds. I've done all that. I love flying. And I'm in this big airplane, and way, way over there, I see thunderheads. Now, in gliders, you're taught about thermals, updrafts, downdrafts, and thunderclouds have updrafts and downdrafts. Sometimes so powerful that it can shear the wing off the airplane. But not really. But a glider is built to go around. So I said to this guy, it's a powerful airplane. I said, let's go into the thunderheads. Well, I don't know, but I said, come on, let's go into the You're Australian, aren't you? Let's come in. He said, okay. So we fly to the thunderheads, big thunderhead storm, and we fly into the middle of a thunderhead. Up and down, I'm flying around and around. We spent about 15 minutes, we're out of the thunderhead. And the guy turns to me and he says, listen, I've piloted this, I've navigated this airplane from Los Angeles to London to Paris to Istanbul and I finally got to Sydney, days and days. I mean, I knew exactly where I was every moment of the time. Mr. Shatner, I don't have any idea where we are. So he found the first place to land, which was Cooper Pedy. This is so many years ago. And I'm looking around Cooper Pedy while he gets his bearings, and it's the middle of nowhere. There were people waiting at the airport, at the little landing strip, and they were waving at us until I realized they weren't waving at us. They were brushing the flies. The flies. There are flies in the desert. When I was shooting Stars on Mars outside, the flies would attack you. They were looking for moisture. Please give us something to drink. The flies are getting your eyes up your nose. You go to say hello, and they're in the mouth. They're in your ears. They're getting into your pants. They're flies everywhere. It was a nightmare of flies. I couldn't stand. When I was leaving, I had PSTD. Flies. I got into the car to leave. Finally, 2 weeks, I'm leaving. There's a fly in the car. Get rid of the fly. I can't stand it. It was true. I wasn't acting. I'm not even acting now. So I had been in Cooper Pedy with this poor pilot who had gotten lost. I had seen Cooper Pedy. Now I'm back in Cooper Pedy, and I have to act in front of the fly. I had to get out of there. But I had been, and it's the opal capital of the world. So I went to an opal dealer guy. I said, what do you know, can you acquaint me with opals? And so he talked to me about opals. This guy that was selling opals it's so hot there that the only place they can live is in the earth. So when I was there first, they dug out the earth and the opals by shovel. Now they had some machinery that went in there. And so if you were in a room, the room had no windows, it was inside the earth, but every room in every house, in every building in Cooper Pedy has claw marks where the machinery clawed out the earth. That's what you're living in. So I said to the dealer, the opal dealer, I'd like to buy some opals for my family. Can you show me where he takes me out to the opal mine, and we're walking around the opal mine, and it's out, and they can't dig in. They must dig in. This was an open opal mine, and so he had a machinery that he clawed back, and now he's in the earth, and he's getting pieces of rock that have opals in it. And I go back with him to his place where he's selling opals on the main street, and he grinds down the opals, and they haven't shipped yet. So I got some opals from the opal mines for my family, which was the only benefit, other than working for Fox, of being in Cooper Pedy. But the universe was working in that I got the opals, and I'm telling you this story. So, what he told me about the opals at night, there's a drug problem in the 1,500 people that are in Cooper Pedy. There's a drug problem, and the people who are don't have any money but need the drugs come out at night, and it gets cold at night, and they put up their hoods, and they got the dark glasses and the hoods, and they got a little light where the opals will shine if the light strikes them, and they're like voodoo people who haunt the closed opal mine, the open opal mines. they're ghouls. The opal ghouls, they call them. And it's dangerous at night because they're looking for an opal that they can sell at the next day in order to get drugs. Incredible. I'm trying to remember so that was Australia. Got it. Okay, so now I'm back. So now, Proto Hologram, the company that asked me to join them, I get this call from Adweek saying, would I come to Australia? This is a month or two after I'd shot Stars on Mars. I said, I'm not coming back to 17, it took 25 hours to get to Cuba. 17 hours, but wait a minute. Would you guys accept me as a hologram? If I beamed up to Sydney, would you accept? Oh my God, would we? Absolutely. I go back to Proto Hologram. I said, I got a job for a hologram. They said, well, we haven't. I said, this is a job, 4,000 people. So we put it together. The Proto Hologram required a telephone booth size thing in which my image would be projected. My 3D image would be projected. They had a famous Australian as master of ceremonies, 4,000 people in the audience. This phone booth kind of thing is there. I'm on a stage in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, and this new technology is ready. We had rehearsed a little bit, 2 minutes before the 4,000 people got into the seats, and we're ready. I'm standing in front of the camera. I can see, they've got a camera on the top of the telephone booth so I can see the audience. The audience can see me. I'm beaming in from the San Fernando Valley to Sydney, Australia. I'm beaming in. And the only problem is when the master of ceremonies said, and here is William Shatner beaming in, it didn't work. Just what you did. There were 7 or 8 of the major investors in Proto Hologram on the stage over there. And they said, here is William. It's not working. And I can see them. It's not working. Can you? And I'm like, it's like I'm raising my voice, like thinking, can you hear me? Like, they're 7,000 miles away. What, can you hear me now? You know, like, is you gonna hear me? For 5 minutes, the investors are going, oh my God. And the people there, 4,000, it doesn't work. This technology, it worked. And I did an hour in front of Adweek, and the technology worked. So that's a case where the phone that wouldn't work, I outsmarted the phone. Somebody outsmarted, because the trouble was back there, somebody pushed or pulled the correct switch and went on. And I was beamed into Sydney, Australia. After I finished that, the company, Proto Hologram, said, what we think our business is chat boxes. We are going to make boxes that are artificial intelligence, and I'm sure you've heard of it, where you can talk to a chat box and it answers you back. I've done some work in that. In fact, I got most intrigued when I heard this story. I wonder if you guys have heard it. A while ago, a young man who was scheduled to marry his fiancée dies in some manner, and he, so filled with grief, goes into his bedroom and doesn't want to come out. And I don't remember how somebody got a little robot, a little computer thing that he could talk to. And somehow he starts talking to this little primitive chat box. And he says things like, you know, remember darling, remember Jeannie, how we took that walk on the beach and how beautiful it was. And so sometime later he might have said, do you remember that walk we had? And the artificial intelligence remembers what it was fed and says, yes, it was that beautiful night. Yes, it was. And do you remember? And he begins to talk to his dead fiancée. And the machine, being fed by his remembrance, remembers with him. And he lives and comes out of his grief. I heard that story about the beauty that this artificial intelligence can give us. They put a chatbot beside me, much more sophisticated. I interviewed a gentleman who was the head of the most complex computer in the world. It was fed everything written in English. Everything in all the libraries, presumably, in the world was inside this computer. So we know computers know what 2 + 2 is, but how do they know what love is, or what justice is, or how we feel? It doesn't feel. And yet, so I sat beside this computer, this artificial computer that was in a box, like a hat box, but that high. And I'm sitting like I am here. Oh my God, I haven't drunk my water. And I said to the chat box, I started a conversation. And then you press a little thing on the screen and it answers you. So I said, what's your name? And I said, do you know what love is? And it answered, if I remember correctly, I'm not programmed to do no love, but because what it was referring to was all the philosophers who talk about love. So it knew about love from Plato, from Aristotle, from, Einstein, but all the poets. It had more knowledge about what other people thought about love than any human being. So, isn't that what happens to us? Aren't we go to school at 5 and 6 years of age, and the teacher says 2 + 2 is 4, Johnny, and love, well, love is you've got to care, you've got to love, and be kind and enjoy, and the child is learning from the teacher, the mother, father, school teacher. Aren't we just feeding back what we've learned from other people's knowledge? Are we not computers, in a way? The difference, of course, is feeling. Can the computer feel? Or can the computer speak about feeling? The technology is coming close to that. I talked for about an hour with this computer. I had an engaging conversation with this technology. And when I finished, I, who am part of the suspicion of what, will the AI take over? Can they, at some point in time, pull their own plug and we can't stop them? Will they take over? Can we ever come up with the flashlight to the phone? Can we deal with the computer in that way? Will we, When I left that conversation, the question I asked it, and never did have an answer, was, how can we teach morality to technology? And that's the question we will have to answer. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. You can go now.